Oh, actually, now that you're here, so, dang, I should have brought a space pistol with me. You know what? I'll whip out a slide. We'll talk about it real quick. Speaking of gay porn, so what you're looking at here?
Butt feet? That's gross.
No, not up my ass, but generally, I once jerked off a homeless dude for $30. But anyways, so jizz jokes aside, what's not a joke is the path that these pistols are taking into the future. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at two different components that generally nowadays are being combined together into one to kind of give people a competitive advantage out of the gate. What we have here is a compensator that's been added to a Glock. This one's a design made by Primary Machine and actually has some pretty aggressive porting. I really like this design. And red dots mounted onto slides in a 3-point mount configuration, which through our organization we try to educate and push as much as possible if people are trying to mount red dots onto their pistols. Now, the reason why that we would both advocate these, at least for sports shooting and defensive applications, depending on requirements. Number one, the cool thing about these compensators is that it's a net benefit, and a lot of times the downsides, other than respringing the gun to make it come back into tune, depending on what kind of ammunition that you're using, there's so many net benefits that outweigh the negatives. Number one, there's going to be a lot less muzzle flash. I know that sounds like kind of a controversy, but whenever we get a chance, we'll do a low light shoot and we can see the difference between a bare muzzle and a compensated muzzle. Just like on a rifle, if you have a bare muzzle at the end of a rifle, all the excessive gases that escape in the barrel, they're not really doing anything. They're pushing back a lot of recoil and there's a lot of excessive muzzle flash. However, if you have some ports or a muzzle brake or even a compensator flash hider, the gases are actually being used towards something. This is no different. So now that the gases are being used towards something, which is helping push the muzzle down, and also on top of it too, changes the flash signature, there's actually a lot less muzzle flash that comes out of here. So if you're using, say, like a white light, for instance, in conjunction with your pistol, or even one that's mounted underneath it, you can see your sights and you can see what you're trying to shoot at a lot easier in the dark or in low light situations. And on top of that too, there's a lot less recoil coming back, so thus it makes you shoot better. Next, the cool thing about red dots is that I no longer have to line up three things: the target, the front sight, and the rear sight. I can now focus just on the target and superimpose a red dot. The same benefits that you would get from a rifle with a red dot mounted on it, you get with a pistol. There are some nuances when it comes to like training, indexes, if you don't know how to draw or aim a gun properly, which we'll go over at some point. A lot of times these are a little bit harder for newer shooters to pick up. However, net benefits of this outweigh a lot of times the negatives. And on top of that too, technology on these things are just getting better and better and better. I've had this particular red dot on this little guy for about, now it's been almost 2 years, and probably seen a little bit over 10,000 rounds, and it's still going strong, even though that this is a quote-unquote value red dot. Still hasn't broken, and on top of that too, if technology changes with this 3-point mount, I'm not committed to the technology. I can change it out over time, so when there's better products or a better version of this that gets released into the future, I don't have to worry about having to change a permanent modification. All I have to do is back a screw out and push this side off, and then I can change my mount or change the optic to whatever it is that I want to into the future, so I'm not committed. So I get the net benefits of what the technology offers today without the commitment. Kind of like, the dating scene nowadays on like Tinder and Bumble. This is like the Tinder Bumble version of like red dots, if that makes sense. My millennial crowd.
You dirty little sucia.
Alrighty. I had a fucking guy that he bought a XD9 off of us, right? It was a complete utter FUD pistol. But anyway, so this guy comes in and he's dotier than fuck. Does his background check. I even asked him, I'm like, yo, are you on the influence of something? He's like, nah, dog, I'm good. I'm always like this. I'm like, okay. And I can't disqualify anybody after, I talk to them and they verbally tell me no. So I do his background check, right? And then when the background check, like 2 days into it, I get like this letter from the Department of Justice. They're like, hey, put a delay on this. We have to investigate this guy. And I'm like, oh shit. So I do what is directed to me. I call the customer up. So I talked to the customer and he's like, I don't understand why my stuff would get delayed. I didn't do anything. I'm like, are you sure? When I asked you, have you ever committed a violent misdemeanor or a felony, like ever? Is there anything that could have maybe it popped up or you've ever been arrested for anything? He's like, well, there was this one time 7 years ago I got caught with like an ounce of crack cocaine. And I'm like, nigga, what? Wait, an ounce of crack? He's like, yeah, that's like a misdemeanor, right? I'm like,
Depends how you
bro, that's like that is a hardcore drug. No, that's not a misdemeanor. When they booked you, that was a felony.
felony, dude.
That's a felony, right?
It's a Schedule 1 drug.
Exactly, it's a Schedule 1. However, because we decriminalized everything, and as the process went on, right, he ended up getting passed.
What?
So, oh, yeah. No, he picked up his pistol last night. Here's the funny part. Guy comes back in, right? He's still dodier than hell. So I ask him, yo, are you Dodie? And he verbally tells me no. I'm like, okay. So I can't, like, I can't, like, deny him based upon, like, I think he's suspicious and all this other crap. So I release his pistol to him because it is rightfully his property, and I don't disagree with that. But here's the funny part about this story. He leaves his jacket behind. After he gets his card declined, when he was trying to buy, like, he was trying to be a baller, and he bought like 50 rounds. What? So yeah, $11 is a lot for a crackhead. He leaves his jacket behind, and we waited for the entire night for him to come back. We even called him, never picked up his phone. He's probably on a good one. So as we're trying to put the jacket in the back and hold it for him, we feel something inside, like the pocket. You know what we find?
crack.
No.
Oh.
2 extraordinarily small condoms. Like baby condoms. I've never seen condoms this
Like
small
finger
before.
condoms?
And I'm gonna show you.
You still have it?
Wait, it's in the dude. It's in the shop. It's in the
Oh,
front.
you have to
Finger
see
Like,
that
I'm gonna
shit.
show you this shit.
Finger condoms.
A finger
They're the
condom.
smallest fucking condoms I've ever seen, and I'm Asian from the waist down, and I'm laughing. So this is what I want you to do, and I'm gonna do it too. Is all I want you to do is I'm gonna want you to throw up a group real quick from here. We're not gonna do any draws today. And then here's another cool thing. It would really help if you had a pistol with you.
Yeah. Where'd you put your Glock?
It's up there.
I didn't see it up there.
Oh, it's probably camouflaged on top of the bag because that bag is old Army combat uniform ACU pattern, and it blends into nothing. Tight. All right. So the first thing we're gonna do here at our little 7-yard line is all we're gonna do is we're gonna start off at a high rate position, have the ideals, like what your mind is on ideal stance, and we're just going to throw 5 rounds into that target as fast as, or I'm sorry, not that target, but into the head box of this paper target as fast as you can see the sights come back. So what you're going to be looking for is what your shot cadence is, what your sight picture is doing, and on top of that too, we're going to analyze the group afterwards. I'll throw up a group first, we'll talk about it, I'll tape it up, and then you'll do it. Cool? All right, here we go. No time on that, by the way, so no timers, no stress, no nothing, just throw up a group, let's see what your sight picture does. Anyways, here we go. All right, cool, let's take a look at that. Alrighty, so let's talk about the group real quick. I shot that moderately paced. I shot it as soon as I saw my sights come out. I got one outside of the A zone, and as you can see here, if I was to analyze my group, what would I say I need to work on, right? I don't really have much left and right deviation. I should grip a little harder. And what I have up and down here is my stance. So if I was to look at a shot chart, everything here would say like, oh man, you're good to go. However, me being the guy that I always want to improve every single time I come out and I analyze every single round I fire, from what I'm seeing right here, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots that I threw on here, even though that's like moderately paced, I have like a little under 2-inch deviation. I need to lean into the gun slightly more, right? Because as you can see, here I'm good, but once the 4th and 5th shot came, my stance is being broken, and it's no longer, or my sights are no longer coming back to where I'm looking at. They are ending up slightly higher, if that makes sense. Cool. So That's me being proactive. Now, let's go ahead and have you do it, Jordan. And we'll analyze your group, and then we'll just keep fixing it, the little nuances here and there. And then we'll go over the bigger portions of, you know, different individual nuances of the grip and sight alignment and such. All right, let's do this. Cool.
Holster.
All right, holster. All right, downrange. All right, let's take a look. Now, I'm not going to judge where like you cut the sights because, again, you're running stock sights on that pistol. So it could change wherever it is you have to hold to hit dead center here. However, let's talk about the group itself. So earlier you saw I had like vertical stringing, right? And I don't have much left and right deviation. If we were to follow what I was talking about earlier and we take a look at this deviation here, which is about, if we count that,
2 inches.
yeah, I'd say about a little over 2 inches. But what like primarily, given where you're at in shooting, what would you think that this is right here?
My
This-
stance or my arms, the way I'm.
Right, exactly.
my recoil
Right,
from-
exactly. The grip. So right here, we have a little bit of stance, which is absolutely fine. Majority of what we're going through right now is grip. So let's work on the grip, and let's see if we can get this a little better. For us to do that, we're going to move over to the 8-inch steel, and we're going to work on grip. Cool. And we'll go back to the paper and reanalyze. So all we're doing here is we're seeing what our deficiencies are. So if we have a deficiency in grip, now we can work on grip pressure and what we have to do to apply grip to the gun to shrink this down, our left and right deviation. All right, so let's go to the steel over here. And about right here, this is a minimum safe engagement distance. And just to be sure, do me a favor, stand behind me real quick. I'm gonna fire like 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna fire like about 3 rounds in this thing from different points of impact on there, so I can see what the spall pattern is. Going hot. So dead center, straight down. Whoops. Came off the left side, but left is still good. Right's still good. Tight. Cool. All right. So that's safe for us to shoot. Go ahead and get up to that line. All right. So let's talk about grip pressure real quick. All right. So act like that my hand right here is the pistol. I want you to apply, strong hand only, what kind of grip pressure you're applying to that pistol. Okay.
Like that.
I will automatically tell you, you need to increase your grip pressure. Tight, tighter, 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 tighter. Cool. All right.
All right.
Now, take both your hands, do that same thing. Cool. All right, tighter, 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 tighter. This is totally not gay. Don't judge us.
You like it, huh?
Cool. Okay, so I was born this way. You can't judge me, sir. Anyways, all right.
Fucking different society now.
Oh, this is guest starring Jeremy over here.
What's that, Jeremy?
brother?
He's from Pueblo Ricos.
What's that, Jeremy? How's it
What's up,
going,
dude?
bro?
What's up, brother?
What's up, dog?
Yeah, what's
What's going on? What's up with you?
Just came to say hi real quick. Acknowledge your presence.
Acknowledge my presence. That's
Yeah.
like, what am I, special or something? I mean, I'm special ed, but
Yeah, let me
I
see-
can't even stop on a can. Did you see that shit? I hope you caught that on fucking camera.
I did.
Anyways,
Come on, Fee.
Let me see one of your mag. You have extra mag on you?
you mean clips?
Oh, clips. Sorry.
Do I have
Can I see one of your fully automatic clips, please?
I mean, there's hollow points in there.
I just found some rounds.
Oh, here, hold on a second. You found some rounds? Tight. Yeah, this is why I dig through the trash in the morning. Look at this jumble, like jingle load right there. It's all couch ammo.
Nice.
In front of the line, parking in the dirt lot. Cam, can you head up to the office when you have a chance?
So, yeah. Put that right there. Yeah. What you gonna do? You gonna shoot my steel? Please. Oh, no, go ahead. I'll shoot for you. Top of that.
Yeah, shoot your weapon now?
Oh, yeah, here. Where's your gat?
In my bag.
Oh, here. You got you. If I can find a place to stow this mag real quick.
Jesus Christ.
Tight.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
I'll come and fucking see you later, probably.
All right. Later.
Take
dog.
care, Jeremy.
Take off.
Have a good one.
What time you guys gonna take off?
10.
Whatever you want.
All right. See you, bud.
That was dope.
Okay.
So you know like everyone right here at the range?
Yeah.
That's dope. It's like
Everybody.
family?
I've been here for a couple of years.
That's dope.
Okay. So.
You like coming to this range?
I think it's one of
Only
the
range.
best facilities for an outdoor range out here in Southern California, actually out here in the West Coast. Been up and down the Pacific Northwest corridor at Oregon, Washington, Northern California, and I haven't found a place like this. It's world famous. A lot of speed shooters in USPSA, IPSC, a lot of the guys that are tearing it up out in the field right now, a lot of them started here. So there's a lot of mysticism about this range, and yeah, it's one of a kind.
That's dope.
Mhm.
I'm happy to be here.
All right, so
Let's do this shit.
let's talk about grip pressure real quick, okay? So we don't waste any rounds on this. So the amount of grip pressure you put in my hands, I would say increase that. If you can't right now, I would say think about vectors of where you're trying to apply the grip, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to draw my handgun real quick, and I'm going to kind of explain it without firing a shot, and then I'll shoot, but I'll let you know when I'm shooting. Okay, so we went over like how much minimum grip pressure we're supposed to put into this pistol to keep it like running somewhat fast and reliable and accurate, right? There's always a balance between the two, but right now we're trying to put like rounds really quickly into that 8-inch circle, and there's no way you can stop recoil, by the way. So whenever you see the slide like really flat when I shoot, I'm still watching the sight do this. It's just not moving as much as most other people. But that being said, grip pressure wise, if we can't grip the gun hard enough, we have to think about where we're applying the grip. So instead of trying to, if you can't develop a really strong grip, think about vectors. When I mean vectors, think about where you want to apply it. How do we do that? Think of straight lines. So if I was to say grip the gun textbook, right, where I have a nice high grip, and on top of that too, I'm filling up as much of that space as possible. If I cannot grip the gun hard like I should or need to, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about creating a straight line with my grip into the target, right? So the whole thumbs pointing at targets thing, I don't really believe in that, but in this instance with this technique, you can use it, especially if you're tired or if you don't have a good reference yet of how strong you should grip the gun. So what you're doing is that you're taking your grip, you're taking your thumb, you're pointing them both at the target, and you're creating an imaginary straight line into the target. And you're putting most of your force into a straight line into the target, so then you can track the gun into a flat line and recoil. I'm gonna go hot real quick so I can demonstrate that. You want to switch cameras, or are you okay?
No, this is good.
All right, so going hot. So if I can't grip the gun tightly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about straight lines. With straight lines, what that's going to do is that I'm telling my brain, create a grip that follows a straight line. So when I create a grip that follows a straight line, you can actually see the tendons in my wrist actuate. So think about straight lines. Straight line, straight line, straight line, straight line, straight line, straight line. So as you can see there, even though I'm not gripping the gun really hard, if I think about creating a straight line vector with my stance and my grip, this little guy and this little guy, they actuate. A lot of times, me personally, I do that with just dumb grip strength. But if you can't do that with dumb grip strength, then we have to think mind over matter. That makes sense. So let's try that real quick. So go ahead and let's step on this line.
Going hot?
So first thing we want to do is get your grip. Make sure that we have a good concentric grip. You see how you have a little bit of space back there? Everything we're trying to do right now, if we don't have a good textbook, quote unquote, high leverage, we're gonna lose a little bit of what we're trying to get done here. So if we can't grip the gun hard enough, and yep, now you have a good grip right there, right?
Yep.
So now what I want you to do is I want you to aim into the target, and I want you to think about drawing straight lines with your mind and your grip and your thumbs pointed right at the target, and think about a straight line from the stance in your hands. There you go. And that's without increasing your grip strength at all. So let's see how that prints out on paper. So. All right. So, hey Jordan, go ahead and get up to the line. We're gonna load and make ready.
What is it? Mind over matter shit.
Okay. So, now remember what we were just going over? Now all I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and park your front sight onto that head box, and I want you to think about straight lines with your grip. Straight lines with your grip. Straight lines with your grip. Tight. All right, go ahead and holster. Now let's go take a look at that. Okay, so other than this little guy right here, and we don't have to worry about that. Right, that was around your second shot, but as you notice, now with a straight line vector in our grip, that left-right deviation is gone. Your up and down is pretty much the same, but what have we have? We now have a quote-unquote drastic improvement, right? And you
Hell
also
yeah.
shot that faster. Tight?
Yeah.
Cool.
Good shit, fool.
This is what we call like infield diagnostics. So instead of going around and like running around just shooting like random shit and like going, hey, look how fast I did this. Why not work on like, you know, improving?
Efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah, efficiency.
Points, basically.
Exactly. It's all it is. It's just working on little nuances of efficiency.
I feel like I'm about to go pick up my fruit from the market and shit. Does it finish in the market, dog?
Come Flacco, we need more drugs.
We were just talking about bloody blood out of the range.
Oh yeah.
Look at me,
Hey, Miklo. Anyway.
Did you finish that movie?
Yeah, I did.
This one said that he barely watched it, dog.
I had to show him fucking Bloody and Blood Out when he was 30.
Yeah, because I was like, why is this guy sucking dick?
So that's
I
okay.
was
So it
like,
goes back to our topic. He's not relatable.
Oh.
Okay.
All the things that we've experienced as youth in maybe the lower income areas in California, he hasn't. Doesn't mean he's bad, doesn't mean he's better. Just means
Let's push all our homework on him.
not really. So when he explains guns, he does it at a high level, and sometimes people can't read or even understand vocabulary at a high level, so it becomes lost in translation almost, right? I understand it. I like hearing it like that. I like hearing it with the exact terms. I like to know the nomenclature, but they don't want to know. And
Well, maybe they do.
couldn't know, and when we do explain to them, they look at us lost. So I break it down into super dummy, hooked on phonics, dude. Like, bro,
People like
this
me.
gun's good
People like me and-
because this. This gun's bad because this. I don't go in on spring weight. I don't go in on fucking components. I don't go in on specs that are gonna just confuse the dude. When really he needs to know what's the best buy for him, especially on a first buy. And on the first buy, I try to get him into something that's gonna be the easiest gun to shoot, most affordable, and lowest maintenance.
Well, that's why you
And
guys
they'll
are
still
a
sit
fucking
here and
great
argue
team.
with me.
That's why you guys are a great team.
We're
And
a
I
great.
think- and that's what the world needs to see you two fools, dog. We need to see the food from Jordan. What are you, Mexican Jordan? What are you, dog?
San Bernardino.
No, what are you, fool for real?
Oh, like
Ancestry, like.
ancestry. Well, my ancestry, to be honest with you, within this industry, kind of fucking doesn't work. But I'm definitely from Jordan, and so everyone on the other side of the camera is gonna be like, "Oh, that's
Damn,
a Muslim
I
ISIS
should cut
fighter."
that out.
What's up, dog?
Hey, what's
Where
going
are
on,
you
man?
from, dog?
What's up, Ralph? Oh, I'm from Texas originally and grew up in Hawaii.
And then what's your back?
What's your nationality?
American?
He's Vietnamese.
Oh, you're Vietnamese.
That's what he wants to know.
Oh, you're talking about that? Yeah, I guess. You know, I'm Asian from the waist down. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nah, for real? Let me see. For
Why do you think
camera,
I
dog.
can?
For
Why do you think I can
camera.
hide a Glock 34 on me at all times? Then it was kind of cool because we got Jordan like dialed in about what 15 rounds.
Perfect. We do all the beginning parts of shooting. Because I'm too lazy to wake up at the moment because my life is upside down. And then when we start getting more into the advanced stuff, me and him will both be out there tweaking out on it to show you guys the next level of fundamentals, which is essentially the first beginning of fundamentals. You're just doing it at a higher speed.
Hell yeah, dog. All right, fools.
But stay tuned because you're not gonna get this type of information anywhere else on the YouTubes or the internet blogs or the shit. I don't even know how to turn a computer on, bro.
You're not
Just
going
don't even know
porno
how to
though.
read.
You're not going porno though, dog. You too, Fee? Don't fucking over there being
Hey, if
innocent,
anything
dog.
happens
There's
to
no
me,
porno on YouTube.
yeah. Oh,
Hey,
no,
no, low-key there is, dog.
Sometimes.
Low-key there is. You just have to look for it.
Just
man.
do me a
on, I gotta
favor.
help
If
this
something
customer.
happens,
Yeah, go
at
help
the
these
end-
fools, dog. Come
something happens
on.
to us at the end of all this, just delete my browser history.
Alright, bro.
Don't judge me.
Alright, bro. Peace out.